Welcome one and all to a brand new series on this channel. It's not very often I get to say that, makes me very happy. You guys love the SCP videos so much that we thought, how can we do something new with them? How is that possible? Well, how about breaking down some of the best SCPs into minute detail? Sometimes when I talk about SCPs, I have so much more to say on them, but I have to cut it short so that I can talk about the next thing on the list. Not in this video though. Today I'm talking about SCP-087, one of the most famous and most feared, I think, of all the SCPs. Let's take a step down into the darkness. My name is Danny Burke, and this is the top 10 scary SCP-087 facts that will keep you up at night. Starting off at number 10 now, we have the recap. We're going to have a lot of interesting theories, discussions, and facts about 087 in this video, so I think it's best to start with a recap. A bunch of 087 facts packed into one point just to start off with. Essentially, for those of you that don't know, SCP-087 is a dark staircase that descends seemingly forever. Any light higher than 75 watts is ineffective in lighting up the staircase much more than a single flight of stairs. After a few flights down, a little girl's voice can be heard in the darkness below, crying out for help. She sounds like she's about 200 meters below, but as you descend, the girl never sounds any nearer. After descending for long enough, SCP agents have encountered some sort of being. Basically, it's a bodiless face in the darkness. It has no pupils, nostrils, or even a mouth. The face is referred to as 087-1. Those who have encountered it have experienced intense paranoia and fear before the encounter, and then just sheer terror during the encounter. Now, let's talk details. At number 9 now, we have Exploration 1. This was the first time that the SCP Foundation sent one of its agents down to investigate. In the report, the agent is referred to as D8432 and described as a 43-year-old Caucasian male of average build and appearance and unremarkable psychological background. It also says that he is a Class D agent because he mishandled a case involving a different SCP. Specifically, which SCP has been redacted from the record. Also redacted is the name of the doctor at the control panel who the agent is reporting to using an audio headset. The first mission was where the Foundation realized that excess light gets absorbed down there, that the staircase seems to be infinite, and that the little girl's crying never gets any closer. It was also the first time they encountered SCP-087-1, more commonly known as the floating face, that caused the agent to run for their life to the top of the stairs. Next up at number 8 now, we have the game. There is actually an experimental horror game that is based on SCP-087. It's called SCP-087-B. It was made by someone called Regardless. The gameplay leads the player through hallways and down staircases while attempting to avoid monsters. There are a total of 270 floors in the game. On the 250th floor, the walls close in on the player and they will be ambushed. Now, I won't say any more about that as I'm veering dangerously close to spoiler territory. Suffice to say, there are many hallways, rooms, paths, and mazes to challenge the player, and of course many scary monsters with uniquely disturbing mechanics and quotes. The game has proved to be very popular among the SCP fanbase and has been credited as the stepping stone for the creation of an even bigger game, SCP Containment Breach. I haven't played it, but the name sounds cool. Next up at number 7 now, we have the author. Sorry to burst the bubble for anyone here, but as much as we love the SCP Foundation, it's fiction. Don't worry though, we're going to jump right back into that world in the next point, but for now, I want to give credit to the author of this story. I did some digging and found out that the author is called Zaidi. He submitted the 087 story to the SCP Wiki on the 10th of December 2009, which means in about a year's time from this recording, the story will be a decade old. Have a look at the date today. If it's after December 10th, 2019, then the story of 087 is now over a decade old. It was a slow rise to fame for this story, and it's been tweaked a lot since then, but its age and popularity is a testament to its success. It's already inspired a game. What's next for 087? Moving on to number 6 now, we have Exploration 2. This was the next attempt to explore 087. The agent was a 28-year-old male who was equipped with more lights for his voyage down the stairs. He was given 100 small LED lights with adhesive backs on them to stick onto the wall after each flight of stairs. Just like the first time, he continued down and could hear the little girl deep below him. This time though, he stopped at the 51st landing down. Footage showed an arched gouge in the concrete wall, estimated to be approximately 50 centimeters long and 10 centimeters wide. The first step down was smashed into rubble. It looked like something had just completely obliterated itself through the wall. The gouge mark was as smooth as glass. The agent continued all the way down to the 89th landing. He was confronted by the face at this point, about 74 minutes after the exploration began. Just like the last agent, he freaked out and began running up the stairs, despite the doctor pleading with him to stop and get a better look at the face. He collapsed on the 17th landing for almost 15 minutes. The control room picked up the sound of a rapid heartbeat that didn't belong to the agent, along with a strange crackling noise. When he woke up, he ran all the way to the top, sat down, and then fell into a deep coma. Moving on to number 5 now, we have Exploration 3. No need to explain this one now. This was the Foundation's third attempt at exploring 087. They used a 23-year-old female as their new agent. As she descended, she didn't find any of the lights that had been placed on the walls during the last exploration. She also heard the girl crying. When she got to the 17th landing, the same landing where the last agent collapsed, she found something on the ground that smelt really bad. It was sticky and it stuck to her shoe. She said it smelt like metal and urine. She passed the 51st landing with the strange slash mark in the wall. When she reached the 89th floor, instead of the face, she found a hole. It was about 1 meter in diameter and she almost fell through it. A light flashed from inside the hole for just a moment. The doctor advised her to continue. She continued down to the 469th landing, 1.8 kilometers below the entrance, and still the girl sounded no closer. Then she encountered the face behind her. She tried to get away by running down the stairs. Eventually she tripped and fell unconscious. The face was seen approaching the camera, staring right into the lens, then the audio and video cut out for good. Coming at number 4 now, we have the psychological backgrounds. One thing you may notice when looking through the exploration records is that they always refer to the psychological background of the agent. In the first exploration, the agent is described as having an unremarkable psychological background. At first, this doesn't really stand out. It seems just like irrelevant information. Maybe it is, but then when you look at the exploration 2, the agent's psychological background indicates, quote, no abnormalities except an extreme hatred for women, end quote. It also says that he has an extensive record of something that has been expunged from the record. Finally, exploration 3 described the agent sent in as having a history of depression. Why was this included? Now you might say it was just because the Foundation wanted to keep strict records of everything that happened in each exploration, or maybe they suspected that 087 responded differently depending on the psychological background of an individual. Maybe you, watching this video, would have a totally unique experience there. How's that for a theory? Moving on to number 3 now, we have D-Class. Some of you who have read all the material there is on 087 may have noticed that all the agents are referred to by a series of numbers and letters. They always start with D. They are known as D-Class personnel. What this means isn't explicit, but there are some clues. Some people think that these agents are actually former or even current prisoners. In Exploration 2, when the agent is hesitant about continuing, the doctor reminds them that they have to continue as per their agreement. Perhaps if they complete the exploration, they can get released. If that theory is true, do you think it's okay to use prisoners as lab rats for these SCP experiments? I love how we're now discussing the morality of all of this now. Let's move on. Next up at number 2 now, we have Exploration 4. After reading the first 3 explorations, most people are desperate to find out what happens in the 4th and final one, even though they may be terrified of what's to come. Unfortunately though, the data has been expunged, meaning the Foundation deems it to be too sensitive, perhaps even a danger to public safety. In the first 3 explorations, we saw things get progressively more terrifying. The Foundation didn't expunge the data though, which begs the question, what could possibly have happened on the 4th exploration for it to be too much for us to see? I found a thread on Reddit of people discussing this very question. In the end, people came to the conclusion that in a way, not knowing is actually more terrifying than knowing. People say They want to know how the 08 story ends because nothing is scarier than the fear of the unknown. And finally, number 1 now, we have containment. If you go to the SCP wiki, at the very top you can see the Foundation's motto: secure, contain and protect. Once an anomaly has been reported and identified as an SCP, the Foundation attempts to understand it and then make sure it can't harm the public. When it comes to 087, the record has an addendum section. It states that for 2 weeks after the expunged Exploration 4, several members of the staff and students from the campus where 087 is located reported a knocking sound coming from the door leading to 087. As part of their commitment to contain SCPs and protect the public, the Foundation fitted the door with 6 centimeters of thick industrial padding. After that, all reports of knocking ceased. It's important to remember though that it doesn't mean the knocking just stopped. It might be that nobody could just hear it anymore, and so the reports of it stopped. Do you see what I mean? The fact that this is even noteworthy means that maybe there wasn't any knocking before. Is that a clue as to what happened during Exploration 4? Is there someone now trapped inside there forever? I didn't think 087 could get any more scary, but yeah, that thought has kind of pushed it over the edge. Well, there you go. That, as they say, is that. I can honestly say that this is one of my favourite videos to work on over the past few months. I'm a little bit sad that it's over now, but I am excited because that was only the first one in this brand new series. As I'm sure you know, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of scary SCPs out there, so which one shall I make a video about next? I can't wait to hear your suggestions. Thanks for watching as always guys, my name is Danny Burke and I will see you all in the next video.